And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to another Monday. And today I wanted to give you my top 5 favorite episodes of Season 1. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite episodes of Season 1 were. And Season 2 will be premiering sometime around the early summer-ish, probably late May, early June, so just be on the lookout for that. And let's dive in. So, The Right to Bear Arms is one of my favorites for a few reasons. This is the first episode where Lee actually started voicing himself, and I thought that was I thought he did a phenomenal job in that. Never did voice acting before, so this is something that he can definitely put on his resume. Oh, I'm a voice actor. But another thing too is that in terms of the story, I think the way that I wrote it was, for me, one of the finest. You have a situation where there are all these murders happening, and the Bushwackers try to figure out what's going on, and in the process, they discover it's a bunch of fanatical furries who feel like, oh, Mother Nature has been defiled, we must kill all campers to save it. And as a result, they are prepared to kill the Bushwackers, sans Lee, who has decided to become a convert to their bear religion for some weird reason. And the guys survive, obviously, and it turns out that the traps that I set are used perfectly to basically bring down this cult of killer furries. Another reason too is just that it's just so hilarious all the way around. Like, I laughed the entire time as I was writing and reading and drawing this thing. The animation is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best cartoons that I've ever drawn. And for me, there's nothing funnier than Lee wearing a bear costume covered in shit. I think there's nothing more funnier than that. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And here is The Right to Bear Arms. We see a campsite in the evening twilight. A tent is pitched by a serene lake with the sounds of summer reverberating throughout the land. 2 people are laughing as they get ready for bed. However, we see a figure standing off in the distance, observing the action. Inside the tent, the couple sleeps as weird lumbering footsteps approach them. Suddenly, there's a tearing sound, and they awake to see the outline of a bear as it roars. The couple screams, and it cuts to black. The next day, the forest ranger and police are cordoning off the area. It's just so weird. It's like, suddenly there's been a spike in bear attacks. I see that. This is the 3rd this month? Oh, 4th, actually, if you count the disappearance of that cyclist up the trail a week earlier. And you think it was a bear attack, too. Well, based on the remains we found, eventually, yeah. Certainly. Well, we'll look into it. But I gotta tell you, once them bears get a hold of someone, they won't let go. And speak for yourself. Bears in this part of the state aren't known for tearing people to pieces. As the police leave, the forest ranger gets a ping on his phone. He looks at it. The Bushwackers will solve any case, no matter how bizarre. Oh, there's a review. From the U.S. Army. They took care of a giant Carolina ghost worm a few weeks ago and blew it to smithereens. I totally recommend them. Carolina ghost worm? It goes to the Bushwackers at the campsite, with the forest ranger looking on. So, this has been the fourth attack this month. It's like these bears have been going after people specifically just to tear them apart. And they left the food intact. Exactly. They've always been scavenging for food. People used to toss a package of hot dogs at them, they'd scurry off. But now it's like they're, well, acting like cutthroats? Yeah, that.
Have any of the victims seen the bear attacks?
How do you mean?
Well, how do you know a bear attacked them? There are wolves and mountain lions in this area.
Well, it's not wolves or mountain lions. Based on the height and angle, it's not them. The killer had to be on 2 feet. Well, it's funny you should say that. Hey, Suchai, look at these autopsy photos.
Yeah?
Don't these cuts look a little too clean?
Clean?
Yeah, clean. As in, neat and orderly, not jagged.
It's all bloody.
He means they were made by a knife, not claws.
Thanks, JJ. I never was going to get around to that.
So what are you getting at here? You got some serial killer running around URA, knifing people in their tents? Oh my god. That's an even worse thought than before.
And if that's the case, then what would be the motive?
They're hippies?
Why would hippies go around a campsite knifing people willy-nilly? Have you ever met a hippie?
Well, the militant earth-loving kind. So, what about the possibility that it's bears doing this?
If it was bears, you'd have a bunch of people telling you they barely survived a bear attack.
He does have a point.
I'm thinking whoever it is wants to go big. They're aiming for something.
Wouldn't they leave a calling card or manifesto or a bunch of creepy messages for the police to decode?
Then they give away the fantasy if it was a slew of bear attacks. Anyway, we're gonna need some staking out there.
It cuts to evening where the guys are preparing their traps.
JJ, we're good?
Gigi is finishing setting up the last trap camera to a tree. Yep.
Luka, how are we on those traps?
When he gets no response, he turns around.
Luka?
Luka emerges from the woods holding a shovel. Yep, we're good to go.
What were you doing in there?
Setting up the traps. Duh.
Okay. Alright, guys. Time to turn in.
Luka looks at his watch. It's only 7:30.
We need to make this bear think that we're all tired out and sleeping, and then bang! We'll catch the bastard.
Luka and JJ look at each other.
What?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to have just a little drink, you know? He's right. I mean, we're out in the middle of URA at a nice campsite. It's summer, we should really knock back a few beers.
That's actually a good point you make. Alright, why not?
Soon we see the three sitting around a campfire. We see several bottles scattered around the campsite while Luka is smoking a cigarillo and Lee is pulling a face.
So, then we went to the Amityville to see if the place was haunted. My uncle told me that he saw a few dead flies, but didn't think much of it.
Seriously? Dead flies are a dead giveaway that something's up.
How do you figure?
the presence of Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, it means he's around doing whatever he does.
Yeah, right. He's marking his territory with dead flies and an awful piss spell.
You mock, but there are reports that actually confirmed all that stuff, Lee. You really believe in this crap? The supernatural's a very real thing, bro. I wouldn't mess with it. Is it because you're religious? You don't necessarily have to be religious to believe. So, what happened when your uncle went into the house?
So, he goes in and...
Ugh. Ugh.
He goes in and says it was awfully quiet. But not unnaturally quiet or anything like that. It's like if you're at a home alone and everyone was either at work or school, you'd hear the silence. But it's not the type that will freak you out.
Right. So, nothing out of the ordinary then.
Correct. He went in and he looked around and... Oh, God, Luka.
What?
Will you blow that smoke in the other direction? Every time you take a puff, it blows right into my face and it's noxious.
I can't help it if the wind blows it in your direction.
Then don't smoke that thing. God, what is that made from? Dog shit?
It really looks like it. No, it's a bandito and it's from Honduras. It's hand-rolled. I heard somewhere they use shit to fertilize the tobacco down in Honduras. That's how they get it so big and have that robust smell. He then pulls a face. But I'm with you, bro. I'm thinking of upchuck dinner here.
Ugh, God. That'll explain why I'm about to dry heave. Dude, either put that out now or I'll put it with it myself.
Luka makes a face and tosses a cigarette into the campfire, and the others scurry to their tents, gagging as they do so. It cuts to the three in their individual tents, sleeping. There's a rustling noise emanating from the woods as a bear emerges. JJ's eyes pop open, and he hears the rustling get closer and closer. There's a tearing sound, and JJ turns around and fires a shot. There's a yelp, and the trio rush out to see a woman dressed in a bear costume holding her leg with a knife lying next to her. Oh, God! What the hell? That's the bear? Huh. I imagined a bigger, burlier guy.
Alright, you. Start talking. Why were you attacking those campers?
Bears don't talk. I don't have to say anything to you. Well, except for that bit right there. Yes, except for that bit right there. I'm sorry. You're a lady dressing up like some homicidal furry. I mean, in a way, it's pretty sexy, but in another way, you're going to Jack the Ripper in the middle of a state park. What gives? Yeah, especially since 4 people are dead because of these bear attacks.
Hold up. Can we just go back for a second here? You think dressing up like an animal's sexy?
Hey, can we focus here? We're trying to purge the URA of people to return to its natural beauty. Ha ha! Called it.
Damn it.
And we thought scaring people would do the trick. I mean, if they saw an uptick in bear attacks, maybe they'd think twice about coming here. Now, obviously, it didn't work. Yeah, so when did you guys start going all killer bears and shit? Not me. But other members of our group take a more hardline approach.
Like who?
As she points, they see more people dressed in bear outfits standing there, holding numerous weapons. Ugh. Oh. Wow.
Hey, Luka. Do you think that's sexy?
Shut up, Suchek. It cuts to a clearing where we see the trio tied to trees as a burly man wearing a horned bear helmet walks over. There's drumming and loud chanting as he's flanked by 2 figures dressed as panda bears. He raises his hand, and there is silence. Holy shit, dude. There are so many people here dressed as bears. It's like an army or something. Or a cult. Really? There sure seems to be a lot of them. Usually cults are like tens of people. According to you? Yep. Silence! You are in the presence of the bears. We, who purge the earth of man, have found you guilty of deflowering the beauty of the Yuwari, the great gods of Nantahala, Yuwari, Wakama, and Kataba, through their oracles, have pronounced judgment and deemed you fit to die. Oh, great. Another New Age group that's gone to pot. Where's Lee? They turn to see Lee's nowhere. I, Rasus, the high priest of the gods of nature, shall now execute you in the manner of Shimshak Tov, which in our language means most horrific and unnatural death. And they shot me in the leg! I think I'm gonna need a ride to the hospital. Well, just let the great gods of nature heal you. Someone chucks a pine cone in response. Hey, excuse me, sitting bullshit? Hi. If you want to eviscerate us like you did the other campers, that's cool, I suppose. But what did you do to our friend? As he says this, we see figures shuffle in. To Luka and JJ's horror, it's Lee. Lee? No, prisoner. He is now our new brother, Matak. He has seen the error of his ways, and was called by the great bear god into the fold. Super. Another cult brainwashes Suchek. That's like the third now? What about the Church of Godly Scientists? Well, I suppose you can count it. I mean, he did sit through the entire presentation. Even if he was in it for the muffins and the free golf lessons. Matak! How do you pronounce sentence on your former comrades? Lee looks over at his former friends.
I pronounce...
Freedom?
Death!
Crap. Did you really think it was gonna let us go after all this rigmarole? What is up with you using that word, dude? Then, with the fire of Nantahala, purged so the land may again be purified. Let them be purified so their spirits may ascend into the arms of Ursa Major and be cleansed. Be it so, Matak.
Be it so, Ursus.
He hands Lee a torch. He walks over to Luka's tree and sets the base on fire. He then sets JJ's tree on fire. Luka? What? Before we die, can I just say this was a totally stupid idea? Why couldn't we just start a film production company like we discussed? We could have been directing a Marvel movie by now. Ooh, an Avengers movie? No. The tree kills over and lands in the nearby lake. Matak, you have done well.
Thank you.
He looks at the lake.
Say, just a thought. The entire tree didn't burn. In case you hadn't noticed, it killed over onto the lake, and there's a possibility they might have survived.
Ha ha ha! Oh, Matak, you think too much like a man. You must cleanse your mind to be as simple as a bear. Such complexities as forged by men's minds can drive us mad.
Yeah, I get that, but they could return with, like, more men and weapons.
And we'll be ready, won't we? As he says this, the other bears roar in unison. On the other side of the lake, Luka and JJ, having obviously survived the botch execution, plan their next attack. Well, that could have gone better. You think Lee's just pretending to go along to infiltrate and gather intel on those bears? Seriously? It's a possibility. All right. We gotta deal with those bears and put an end to their man-sacrificing plan before they spread their weird messages to other parks in the state. Well, what'd you have in mind? Well, they have taken the whole bear lifestyle like a fish to water. Well, I was gonna say bear to honey, but sure. Wait. What? I just came up with a brilliant idea. It cuts to the bears marching through the woods. As they march, they smell something and look up to see fish and bottles of honey suspending from the branches. They look around and eagerly begin climbing up the trees. Luka and JJ watch from a distance. Seriously? They just fell for that? Furries are a strange bunch, JJ. You say it like it's from personal experience. They see Lee clamber up a tree and begins to scoot towards the branch with a bottle of honey tied to the end of the branch. As he does so, the branch snaps and he crashes onto the branch below and another bear on it. They fall and crash to the ground where it's revealed to be a deep hole. The other branches snap and the other bears also fall into the ready-made holes below, and there's much moaning and groaning. Luka and JJ rush over to see the piles of bears lying in the bottoms of those pits, with a few impaled and others covered in what appears to be excrement. You had time to dig all these pits? Well, remember earlier when Lee made me set those traps? This is what you were doing? Oh, nice. Oh, you bastards! I think I impaled my leg here. Did you now? Well, isn't that a load of...
Luka, I know you did this, and when I get out here, I swear to God...
The Great Bear God. You swear to the Great Bear God.
Whatever god, deity, demigod, or supreme cosmic being, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Why? I was only setting up the traps like you said. As the others moan, the forest ranger walks over and looks down. Oh, wow. You don't get results, you really do get results. Yep, these are the perps who've been going around terrorizing campers. Your troubles are now over. The forest ranger waves his hand. Yeah, about that. There's a bit of an odor. Yeah. You might want to hose him down before putting him in the cop cars. I recommend dumping water in the hole and then just let nature take care of it. As the two leave, we see Lee lying in the bottom of the pit in his filthy bear costume.
God damn it.
The Ivy Witch is one of my favorites for a few reasons. One, the animation I think is phenomenal. Two, the story itself of the guys just house sitting and not knowing what's going on and being drawn into the situation against their will is ridiculous. Not to mention the fact that they're house sitting for a very famous rock star and they end up blowing up his house when it turns out they didn't have to. I thought that was pretty hilarious. The villain herself, what I love about this character is the fact that she draws out more from the Bushwackers, because these are guys who are men's men. They're not going to just, divulge their personal feelings or anything like that. So she draws so much out of them. You begin to see that there's a bit more to these guys than just being a bunch of hapless idiots. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to add to that, apart from from what you'll hear in the next Bushwackers breakdown. But this is my next choice, the Ivy Witch. The city of Charlotte on a warm summer evening. As we get a shot of the skyline, there's a sudden explosion followed by gunfire. It cuts to a street near Uptown where the police have cordoned off a block. A large vine bursts out of the ground and swipes at the cars, causing a massive explosion. Officers open fire, but it doesn't have any effect. As more vines pop out of the ground, a red-haired woman in a witch-like outfit walks over. Freeze! Put your hands up, now! The woman smirks and raises her hands in compliance. As she does so, more vines shoot out and impale the officer. She brings the impaled officer towards her on the vine and she sneers at him. Who do you think you are, pissant? The officer can only cough up blood in response. She turns away in disgust. You think you can just tread on this earth, treat it as your plaything, and like a child discard it when it no longer amuses you? You are mere ants in the world of titans, and they will no longer tolerate this intransigence. She flicks her hand, and the vines hurl the impaled officer away. The vines coalesce into a makeshift throne, and she sits down. She raises her fist as the vines wrap around the officers and they begin to squeeze. Hear me, wretches. I am the Ivy Witch, the avatar of the goddess. I am here to pronounce judgment on all of you. Anyone who dares resist me will pay the ultimate price. Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay defied me, and now they have paid dearly. Will Charlotte follow suit, or bend to the will of nature? Those gathered around look at each other. They begin to kneel, one by one, and she smiles. Excellent choice. You may yet live to see a new world order. It cuts to a stately home surrounded by a wall and a gate. Inside we see JJ sitting on the couch on his phone while Lee and Luka walk around inspecting the place. Woo! This place is swanky with a capital S.
Yeah, I know. And this wasn't an easy gig to score. By the way, so no screw-ups. Got it?
How exactly did you score this?
Oh, a friend of a friend of a friend.
I see. That's all on the down low, eh?
Pretty much. It took a lot of convincing. Like, a lot. I didn't mention you for starters.
Oh! Fantastic. So we're basically house sitters now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Great. So we'll slowly devolve to babysitting, dog walking, and eventually digging graves.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Hey, check this out. He looks at the pool outside.
Well, gents, we're house sitting for a week while Dave is on a business trip. And it is a lovely day. What say we do some house sitting by the pool?
The other two agreed to the idea. But the pool, Luka is at the grill, while JJ is sitting at the shallow end of the pool, and Lee is sitting on one of the folding chairs, rubbing sunscreen on. Hey guys, do you want vegan hot dogs or plant-based hamburgers? Neither? Well, you gotta pick one. Those cannot be the only two options. I promise you they are. Scout's honor.
Luka, did you check to make sure that was all he had? Like, really checked?
I did, and I'm pretty bummed that a man of his caliber would resort to this. Well, the older you get, the more health conscious you become.
Exactly. You ought to understand that very well.
Screw you. Just for that, I'm gonna grill the plant-based hamburgers. As Lee makes a face, there's a rumbling noise. Suddenly, vines burst out of the ground, and the trio turn to see numerous vines towering hundreds of feet above them, some holding vehicles and others holding people.
Okay. Everyone is seeing what I'm seeing, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh, good. So, I'm not going crazy. What a relief.
As he says this, one of the vines senses their presence and darts towards them. They get out of the way as it slams into the pool, draining it in seconds. The trio scramble into the house and lock the door.
Okay, let's take stock here. What the fuck is that?
The plants are rebelling? Oh shit. You don't think it's because I was gonna grill those plant-based hamburgers?
Normally I'd say unlikely, but at this point, I'm open to any possibility. Shit. Guys, I normally don't say this, but I am freaked out.
Really? This freaks you out? Not giant worms or robotic vampires or JJ being turned into a frog. Plants freak you out.
Plants that can grow to hundreds of feet and tear cars and people like tissue paper.
He's got a point.
Ah!
Hey, a thought just occurred to me. If we're house sitting for this Dave fellow and he comes back to find his place in ruins, it'll ruin any future prospects we might have. Lee and Luka exchange nervous glances.
God damn it. He's right. But what can we do?
Well, hang on a sec, I just need to pop by the little boy's room.
What? Right now?
Hey, I availed myself to the cooler. As he heads to the bathroom, Lee and JJ peer out the window.
Any ideas on how to take down that thing?
Well, we need an army of workers with weed whackers. Bushwhacking, right?
Now, is it the time for your wordplay, dude?
Well, what do you suggest?
I dunno. But I do know what Luka would suggest, scarily enough.
Explosives?
What we need to do is gather some intel on that thing. If we could find out who's behind all this, that might give us a chance. Bags, not it.
Not it. Luka emerges from the bathroom. Guys, you won't believe this. This Dave guy must be a huge guitar fan. He's got a Fender Strat just hanging in a frame above the toilet. And it was signed by one of those dudes from Duran Duran. What?
You're going out there and gather some intel on the killer plants.
When did you decide that? Just now? Why wasn't I consulted?
You were indisposed. And per rules, being absent at a meeting means you consent to whatever task we decide for you to do.
Fuck. I really hate that rule. We need to amend it.
Sure, whatever. But go on. Time's a bit of a factor.
As Luka walks out, JJ looks over at Lee.
Oh man, I cannot believe he fell for that.
Are you gonna amend that rule?
Hell no.
Luka walks gingerly through the forest of vines and weeds. He peers around a corner and looks up to see the Ivy Witch holding a nervous man on a vine. He pleads with her, but she flicks her hand, tearing it apart and spraying blood all over the place. He clears his throat and walks over to the base of the vine, where she sees him. Mortal, you don't fear me. I don't? Man, what was in those beers? He's lifted up to her level, and she walks over. So, doing a Batman thing, I see. All poison ivy and shit. I am the Ivy Witch, the avatar of the Earth Goddess, the one called Pachamama. I have come to cleanse the Earth and usher in an age of nature. So, hippie stuff. Cool. Wait, do I know you? What? Yeah, I remember. Charlotte Catholic, class of 2007? Well, we hung out a lot. Well, hung around you a lot. Oh man, that really came out wrong. Her face softens a bit. You ought to remember me. I said I would never forget you. Huh. And here you are, growing plants and tearing people limb from limb. She lowers her eyes. You know, I don't think that girl from high school would take pleasure in hurting people. Well, that's not entirely true. You did hurt me on prom night. I mean, we were supposed to be on a... Her face flies into a fury and she grabs him and hurls him into an opening in the street. Lee and JJ, having witnessed the entire thing, are horrified.
What the fuck?
Oh man.
Jesus H. Christ in a manger! Did she just do what I think she just did?
He turns to JJ. So, do we have a backup plan, Chief? Lee grabs an axe.
It's not gonna be pretty, dude. Let's go do some bushwhacking.
Oh, I see. When I made that joke, it was all like, wow, inappropriate. You suck, JJ. But when you do it, everything's okay.
Shut up and go kill that plant lady.
When did you decide this?
Just now. Now move!
The two proceed to hack their way through the vines. They see a few watermelons attack some people, tearing them apart. Two more roll towards them and leave, trying to bite them. They smash the watermelons.
These guys again?
You think she was behind that?
Wouldn't be a shock.
The witch sees this and wraps the two and lifts them up. More associates.
Ah! Let me go! You... Wait. You look familiar.
Why is everyone saying that today? First that bald idiot and now you.
Hey, yeah! I do recognize you now. Weren't we in the same homeroom class? Lonnie, Bill... Ugh.
She makes a fist and squeezes the vines tightly. Somehow, I doubt she remembers you. Meanwhile, in the sewer, Luka comes to and slowly wobbles to his feet. He finds his helmet and flamethrower lying near a pipe. As he puts it on, he looks around. Oh, sure glad I put all this in place before Wingus and Dinkus sent me on a fool's errand. Honestly, how could she not remember me? I basically professed my love to her in a weird teenagery way. I mean, when someone does that, you aren't going to forget them. Mostly. 7 out of 10 times. He sees a few vines creeping towards him and he proceeds to scorch them. He hears tiny screams and they recede. I mean, I thought chicks liked men who showed some vulnerability, burying their souls and all that shit. Boy, was I wrong. He turns to the camera. And did she really have to toss me into the sewer like that? I mean, was that all a big metaphor? He slowly pushes his way forward to see a thick green trunk. He dials the knob and begins to incinerate the trunk, and there are loud cracks emanating from it. As he does so, he hears some growling and turns to see guard dogs composed of plants. As they charge, he incinerates one of them, and the other, terrified, yelps and scurries off. He then turns to see the trunk crackling and collapsing. At this moment, the Ivy Witch screams, and Lee and JJ fall to the ground. The vines wither and writhe as the two scurry towards the house, where they see Luka emerge from the hole in the ground.
You're doing, I assume?
Yep, but it's not gonna last that long. The trunk is reforming itself faster than I can burn it. We got seconds at best. Great, but we still gotta deal with her. Well, I have some thoughts on that. We cut the gas mains, right?
Yeah?
And lure her into the house and set off the explosion.
I'm sorry. We lure her into the house. That house? The one we're supposed to house sit?
I mean, the neighborhood's been comprehensively trashed. It pretty much makes no difference.
Wow. Like, the logic on this one. Are you sure there's no other way?
At this, the vines burst from the ground, attempting to form a cage.
I'm sold.
Alright. You two go and start cutting the gas main, and use the flamethrower to rig a detonator. I'll go and talk to her. Keep her distracted.
When did you decide this?
Now. Go before I change my mind. As the two scurry over, he turns to see the witch lowered to the ground on the vines. You hurt me. Really? Because you hurt me. Her expression changes at those words. How? Well, let's take a trip back to 2007. I had hair, a bright future, and it was prom night. I was having a ball, enjoying myself. We were at Panther Stadium, of all places. Most high schools have theirs in the gym. Meanwhile, JJ is cutting the gas main while Lee removes the wires from the flamethrower. You sure about this?
No. But at this point, we're between a rock and a hard place. God almighty, how did he wire this thing? You must be a psychopath or something to have rigged it the way he did.
Here, let me. He separates the wires. There. Now attach them to the pipes.
You know, I could have figured it out. Eventually.
Meanwhile, with the Ivy Witch, you meant the world to me. Sure, I was a naive kid, but the world for a kid is pretty small. And you had to ruin it. Brushing it aside like it was nothing. And I had to live with that for the next 10 years. I know you moved on and now you're a homicidal plant witch, but there's gotta be a part of you somewhere, deep down, that doesn't feel the slightest thing. Just a little regret. A morsel of remorse for making me feel like shit for this past 10 years. Her eyes change color. Luka. Please help. We see Luka has a knife hidden in his sleeve. As he draws near, her eyes change color again. Treachery? Die, mortal. Shit, I really thought I was getting to her. He tosses the knife at her and runs towards the house. He sees Lee and JJ emerge from the manhole. She bursts through the walls and tries to stab him with her vines. Meanwhile, Lee and JJ make it to a nearby creek with a remote detonator. Wait, shouldn't we wait?
Why?
Luka's still there with the witch. Shouldn't we give him time to get clear of the blast?
For how long?
I don't know, 10 seconds?
Fine. 10.
He presses the button and the house explodes. Luka's already across the street as the house bursts into flames. He runs over and slides down the embankment.
Did it work?
What the hell is wrong with you? You nearly took off my head, you madman.
I gave you 10 seconds?
Barely.
Whatever, I gave you ample time to escape. You're a fast runner. I've been saying that for years. You could have cleared that in 5 seconds, in my honest opinion. What a shame. That was a really nice house. Don't know how we're gonna explain all this to Dave.
We could tell him the truth.
Not sure how he'd react to that story.
Hey, a thought just occurred to me. We could have lured the witch to an empty lot like a quarter of a mile away, rigged the gas mains to explode, and kill her that way so the house suffers minimal damage. Lee turns to Luka. What?
Why do I always listen to you? Against my better judgment.
Well, now hold on. Let's remember a few minutes ago you nearly killed me.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna finish the job.
He lunges for Luka, and the two roll on the ground. JJ looks around and then hears a ping. Oh, wow. Dave wants to know how it's going. Should I tell him now or wait till he gets back? Guys? So Emerald Curse was overall was was a joy to write. The idea of the Bushwackers finding themselves in the land of Oz and having to save it from the Wicked Witch of the West. Now, out of all of the episodes, my favorite is part 2. And that's mainly due to the fact that I give a rallying speech to the Tin Men and win them over to my side, or our side I should say, so we can launch an assault on the Wicked Witch of the West. It's also my favorite too because it's not really an introduction, but it's not really the conclusion. It's sort of the beginning of the middle. Like you begin to see like how things occur to where they are now. It's what gets the action rolling. So out of all the episodes of the 6-part special of Emerald Curse, this one's my favorite. So part 2 of Emerald Curse. Day 2 of Thanksgiving week special, Emerald Curse. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Let's dive in. Alright, and continuing from part 1, we continue with Emerald Curse. The Bushwhackers watch the flashing images before their eyes. They see Dorothy Gale being led away by the flying monkeys and strapped to a table as the doctor begins to perform an operation. A cloaked figure reads from a large tome as she writhes and screams, eventually emerging as the Wicked Witch of the West. She turns and cackles, chilling the blood of all 3 men.
What the hell?
I know. The eyes of the Tin Man's head fade to black. Luka, annoyed, smacks the skull. Come on, stupid piece of... Ah! The head's drained all the juice out of my phone battery. Isn't that a bit of rotten luck? Yes, JJ, it is indeed a rotten bit of luck. There's gotta be more in there.
If there is, I don't want to know. I mean, why do that to her?
Maybe she wants to touch the ruby slippers? Lee looks at him.
How did you know about that?
What? I was just...
No, shut up. Guys, when I first landed here, I followed the road into the woods, and there was this pair of ruby slippers just sitting there.
Just sitting there.
Well, they were on a pedestal. Anyway, when I touched them, I had these visions. They were weird. Like, it felt like I was witnessing something from long ago. And then the flying monkeys came and took me away.
These visions, Sucha, can you describe them in detail?
No, I'm trying, but it's like when I had them, it felt like I was there. Now that I'm not in contact with them, it's like I've never experienced them at all.
So, you know you saw something, but you just can't remember what you saw.
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh. Could be a repository of experiences and knowledges from long ago. The stone tape theory? Maybe. Stupid head! He hits it against a rock. But I'm thinking here there's more to those slippers than just acting as a VHS tape. You think it was directly involved in whatever Lee saw when he touched them? I'm leaning towards it, but we need to know what he saw. Sujat, can you take us to the slippers? Lee looks around.
I guess, but this place is so big. I could barely get my bearings.
Any landmarks?
Well, I did see this rusty metal suit.
Luka points to a suit standing a few feet away from them. There are a dime a dozen.
So, what do we do?
Well, you said you found them in the woods, right? And you were on a road?
Yeah, gold.
follow the yellow brick road. Alright, that's a start. And the roads here are just dirt tracks. We find the yellow brick road, find a route into the woods, find those slippers, and see what Suchek saw.
Well, there's one other thing. When I met the witch, Dorothy, she mentioned something about serpents returning to the land and laying waste to it. That mean anything?
No, don't think so. As I walk down the yellow brick road, Lee keeps looking at Luka. What?
Nothing.
No, come on. Out with it.
That thing. Why are you still carrying it?
Luka holds up the head of the decapitated Tin Man. Well, he just needs a little juice, that's all. And once we get it, we can find out more information. Hey, don't you think it's kind of weird that it had that thing saved?
What thing?
You know, Dorothy. You think it was a witness to the event? Well, possibly. Could also be data that is saved in the mainframe and shared with all 10 men. So it wouldn't be specific to just one. Precisely.
You seriously believe that?
Suchek, a tornado followed our van and deposited us in the land where you were kidnapped by flying monkeys.
I see your point. Here we are.
They arrive at the edge of the wood. Lee looks around before proceeding, followed by JJ and Luka. He sees the pedestal with its shining slippers. Walking over, he grabs it and throws his head back as a red glow emanates, enveloping the trio in a good part of the wood. What do you see, Suchek?
Hold on. I see...
Luka walks over and grabs him by the shoulder and grits his teeth. Lee lets go after a few more seconds and the two collapse to the ground. JJ runs over. Well, what happened? Luka slowly gets up and looks at the slippers. He walks over and places the head of the Tin Man and it begins to glow and it projects images before them. They see Dorothy struggling as an unknown figure sedates her and inserts a chip at the base of her head. She screams as she is slowly transformed into the new Wicked Witch of the West. She arises and cackles before footage jumps to numerous graves being desecrated and corpses exhumed. We then see brains being placed inside the Tin Men's suits and the eyes glowing red. The head then clatters to the ground, now blackened and smoldering. What the hell? We gotta stop the witch.
Yeah, but it's not really the witch.
You just saw what happened, dude.
And I'm telling you that deep down, Dorothy is still in there. She needs our help.
And suppose we can't reach her. Suppose the witch persona has completely enveloped her and there's nothing left of Dorothy. Then what?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I think it's worth trying to save her. I mean, it's not her fault she's in this position.
Luka sighs and looks at the smoldering head. Ugh. Well, what do you suggest, an exorcism?
They were using some sort of tech with engrams of the original witch's consciousness stored onto it.
Bro, you're really starting to sound like Luka here.
In any case, if we can remove the chip, maybe that can revert the change.
Alright, here's the clincher though. We don't know how long she's had this chip in her head. Suppose we can remove it, we don't know what kind of damage it could cause. I mean, it may end up doing more harm than good.
And I'm confident you can pull it off. I mean it.
Damn it, Suchek, I'm a scientist, not a surgeon. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
You took anatomy in high school, dude. You always told us at lunch how last period you were dissecting stuff.
Cats, Suchek. I dissected cats.
Well, there you go. I'm sure you still got the touch. All you're doing is just dissecting something bigger. And not a cat. Or dead.
Suchek, have you ever considered that maybe the fate of Oz could be at stake?
How do you mean? Are you speculating that we're actually brought here on purpose?
I mean, why else would a tornado just drop us in another dimension instead of tearing us to pieces?
You're so poetic, JJ. Why aren't you a poet laureate?
In any case, assuming we were brought here on purpose, and that is to stop the witch from initiating a new reign of terror, we have to stop her at all costs. Even if it means, you know, killing Dorothy? I'm afraid so.
Well, I'm not gonna even entertain that idea. We're gonna try to save her. Got it?
When'd you get all authoritative?
I am the leader of the team, in case you forgot.
As he walks off, JJ looks over at Luka, who merely shrugs and follows. Oi! Oi! Where are you going?
I'm gonna go find the wizard.
Seriously?
Yes, seriously. He may know how to save Dorothy and get rid of the witch once and for all.
Alright, you really are set on this, aren't you? Why are you so enamored with Dorothy anyway?
I know you think being cynical is cool, Luka, but I actually care about people when they're suffering, especially if it's a condition beyond their control.
Alright. Sure.
And then we can confront the witch.
Hey, hang on a sec. You're going a million miles a minute here. Why don't you pick a task and stick with it?
What do you mean?
I mean, you're trying to do a lot of things all at once. I mean, send JJ to find the wizard. I'm game.
Ugh, fine. JJ, when you find the wizard, explain what you saw, and see if there's any way we could save Dorothy while getting rid of the witch's persona.
Shouldn't I tell him who we are, though?
That's kinda implied.
Alright.
You know where to go?
JJ points to a green light shining over the horizon. Kind of a dead giveaway, don't you think? As JJ walks off, Lee looks at Luka.
Now what?
Luka looks at the smoldering head. He removes it to reveal a darkened glass case. They're resurrecting the dead as foot soldiers, but what for? She's got the flying monkeys.
Maybe they're reinforcements?
Or something else.
Well, only one way to find out.
He points to the witch's lair in the distance. What are we waiting for? It cuts to the two picking their way through the bramble until they find themselves at the base of the castle. So really, fess up. What's the deal with you trying to save Dorothy? Was she your pinup girl back in the 90s?
No.
No? Alright, I'll go first. I'll get the conversation started. And I'm not afraid to admit, I did everything for Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Brunette and a bibliophile. Phew! What a combo. Lee turns to look at him. Hey! The heart wants what it wants. Now, your turn. Go ahead. Lee shakes his head and continues climbing up the slope. They presently reach the dungeon where they find no one present. Luka walks towards the door and opens it to reveal a vast chamber filled with tin men, not yet activated.
Good God.
They presently make it down to the ground level and walk down the rows of tin soldiers. Lee taps on one of the heads.
Funny. In there is someone. A brain. With memories and experiences. Hooked to all sorts of wires. Waiting to be brought online.
Well, Oz is modernizing, Suchek.
But you don't think it's weird that we dealt with something similar a few months ago with vampires? Is that like a universal concept?
I don't know, maybe they saw RoboCop 2 and thought, yes, that is a winner. We'll go with that. Lee gives him a look. As he walks by, we see the head pivot and the eyes light up. Well, you don't think so? They make it to the central console when they hear a noise. They see the eyes light up, and suddenly Suchek is grabbed and thrown to the ground. Luka tosses a severed head at one of the drones. Intruder sighted. Eliminate. Eliminate. They raise their axes in charge. Lee screams as he kicks one of the 10 men off of him, but they're too strong and numerous, and he watches in horror as one of them raises his axe. At the console, Luka looks around and pulls the lever. The 10 men stop and look around. Lee feels the pressure lessen, and he struggles and runs off to join Luke at the console.
Care to enlighten us of what you just did?
Luka points to the lever.
And?
That is the emotional inhibitor. One of the 10 men looks into the body of another and is horrified to see what had happened. It screams and proceeds to plunge the axe into its head, falling over. Others proceed to do the same thing, but they hear a bang and turn to see Luka holding a gun. Oh, 10 men of Oz! Hear me! What happened? Why am I like this? This wasn't supposed to happen. My husband. Where's my husband? He can't see me like this. Not like this. Who are you? Did you do this to us? Give us back our humanity. Luka walks over and looks at them. You were ordinary men and women living normal lives when the witch did this to you. And I'm sorry for this. The lives you knew before are gone. You can never get them back.
Wow. Love to see how this ends.
But even if your beginnings were nefarious, you can choose a more noble path. You are 10 men, the vaunted soldiers of this great land. You may have been created from sin, but I am giving you the chance at redemption. You can make meaning of your new lives, find a purpose to fulfill, and become something much greater. Together, you are the sum of all of your experiences, the likes of which this world has never seen or ever will again. Luka raises his axe. The one who did this to you believed she can control you, thought you were weak, and would kowtow to her. But you were stronger than either her or her flying rabble. You can earn your vengeance and redemption with the swing of an axe. You, 10 men of Oz, have been called to the straight and noble path. Will you take the road with me? Will you answer the call? At this, the 10 men raise their axes in unison and cheer. Lee is astounded.
Huh. He actually got through to them. 10 years on, and he's still got it.
Lee and the Dust Bunnies is... It's such a weird episode. It's not the weirdest, but it's one of the weird ones. I mean, how ridiculous, is it for Lee to to get possessed by a Dust Bunny? Well, not any Dust Bunny, the king of the Dust Bunnies, and he asks Luka and JJ to help him infiltrate the fortress of these mutant spiders of the Arachnid Empire. And what I love about this is the fact that not only is Lee possessed by a dust bunny, but his voice changes, and I absolutely love doing the voice of Konzatar. Because when you watch the episode, it's just hilarious, in my opinion, to see Lee talking in his regular voice, and then in his possessed voice, he's talking in this like deep, majestic, Britishy, stentorian kind of way. So. And at the end, Lee has no idea of what's going on, and when Luka and JJ tell him the truth, he just brushes it off and says, "You guys are talking shit. Fuck off." So this is my next favorite episode. Lee and the Dust Bunnies. The story begins on an ordinary Saturday. We see Lee going through his apartment, cleaning every nook and cranny with a bucket and a sponge. He polishes the pool table, sprays the couch, and organizes his manga collection with care, like a curator in a museum. He gets to his bedroom and hears a rustling sound.
The hell? There better not be a bird or something trapped in there.
He begins scooping out dust bunnies with a broom, putting them in a plastic bag. As he does so, he hears more rustling and then giggling. He sits up and looks around.
Hello? Anyone?
He gets up, brandishing his broom like a club.
Seriously, if there's someone in there, you better show yourself now. I mean it. I will mess you up with this thing.
He hears more rustling and looks down to see the plastic bag moving by itself. As he leans forward to inspect it further, several tendrils shoot out and grab him in the face. He rolls around on the floor, screaming as more of the dust bunnies come out of the woodworks and begin wrapping themselves around Lee.
Ah! No! Not the dust bunnies!
He tries reaching for his phone, but at the last minute he goes limp, laying there in his dust bunny cocoon. A day later, we see JJ and Luka knocking on Lee's door. As they wait, they look around. So, what do you think this emergency meeting is all about? Dunno, but it must be important. He rarely uses the words emergency meeting. As they continue to wait, a thought comes to Luka. Hey, have we ever had an emergency meeting? No, don't think so. Not in the 4 months we've been in operation. 4 months? Phew! We have been busy. Hardly. All we did was kill a giant worm, a Balrog, and some mutant watermelons. And I was rounding up, really. We've only been in business for 3 months, 1 week, and 2 days. Luka impatiently pounds on the door. Oi, Suchek! Let us in! What's this text message you sent us about an emergency? Meeting. Emergency meeting. Suchek? The door suddenly opens, but it's dark inside. The two exchange glances before entering. As they do so, the door slams shut behind them. They look around nervously, but see there's no one else in. Lee? Buddy? You there? They round the corner to see Lee standing with his back towards them, looking introspectively out the window. Luka sees a lot of dust bunnies all over the place and waves his hand. Suchek, man, in case you hadn't noticed, your place is long overdue for spring cleaning. I'll say it's almost time for back to school. Is it really? Jeez, man, it's like the summer just flew by like that. I mean, the saying must be true. Time flies when you're having fun. Well, I really wouldn't call it fun. Not when our lives are in danger on a few occasions. Why must you be such a pessimist, JJ? Enough. The two looked to Suchek, who was speaking in a different voice altogether. Bushwackers, I have summoned you here. Alright. Suchek, are you auditioning for something? What's with the voice? Must be laryngitis. No, then his voice would be raspy, not deep and Britishy. Lee turns around and they're horrified. His body is covered in dust bunnies and his eyes are glowing. Suchek? I am Komzatar. I am king of the Komtera, or as you call us, dust bunnies. Seriously? Well, here we go with another trope. Alright, what have you done with our friend? Is he safe? Yada yada yada. Your friend is fine. He is alive and his consciousness is intact. Show us. He closes his eyes, and when he opens them, he looks normal.
Luka? JJ? What are you doing here?
You sent us a text message about an emergency meeting, remember?
What?
Lee's eyes glow again, and the King of the Dust Bunnies returns. Yes, 'twas I who summoned you. I need your help. With what? Our people have been locked in an eternal struggle with the Arachnid Empire. They spin a thread that can disable and kill our kind, and they mean to have us out of the way in order to dominate the Earth. We must not let that happen. We must survive. Will you help us? Luka and JJ look at each other. A moment, please. They scurry off to the kitchen. Well, what do you think? I'm thinking this is getting way out of hand. No, it's legit, alright. I personally know Lee cannot talk like that. And we go way back. If you say so. They're basically at war with spiders because their webs can poison dust bunnies? Well, that's basically the gist of it. Huh. Super. They walk over to Konzatar. Alright, we will help you on one condition. That you release our friend. Very well. I will do so only once our mission is complete. Alright. I really thought that'd go a different way. Seriously? Come, Bushwackers. We have much to do. It cuts to the woods where Konzatar leads the Bushwackers. They're climbing up a steep hill with a narrow path. As they climb, they see the trees are covered in webs, and they notice several thousand presences in their midst. Hey, so, not that it's none of my business, but how long has this war been going on between you two? For as long as mankind has been on this earth. I see. So, Your Majesty, I can call you that. You may. Super. Your Majesty, where are we going? Hush. I mustn't speak aloud, for we are in their midst. Yeah, I've noticed. The Arachnid Empire has encroached on our territory, massacring our people, enslaving others, and turning several into food. Luka and JJ stop and look at each other. Well, isn't that a weird thought? Tell me about it. Spiders eating dust bunnies? As preposterous as it sounds, a spider's digestive tract can extract the necessary nutrients from our fluffy bodies. To you mere humans, it would be like swallowing a pine cone, but to them... He looks around. We are like steaks. As he continues, they shrug. I wouldn't exactly put it that way. So, Your Majesty, we've got backup, right? It's not just us three who are going to do, well, whatever the hell it is you're planning for us to do. But they reach the crest of the ridge to see a hive that looks hundreds of feet tall. They see spiders scurrying in and out, and, to their amazement, some are 3 feet tall. Lee turns around. Fattened from the flesh of my people. Sure. If you say so. It cuts to the inside of the hive, where it is a labyrinth of webs and catwalks. There are red band spiders crawling around, patrolling the perimeter, while light emanates from several shafts from the ceiling. The trio sneak in through an opening with JJ brandishing a spider's leg. Gotta say, these things cut 10 times better than a chainsaw. It's like it went right through the wall with no problem. Of course. Those are the very tools that built this massive edifice. Great. So, where to? Lee's eyes look upward. Ah, jeez. I hate heights. It cuts to a circular chamber where a mass of spiders enthroned, surrounded by smaller, but aggressive-looking spiders. Suddenly, the guards screech and keel over as the Bushwackers emerge. The Queen? Empress. Ah. So bigger than a king. Gentlemen, welcome to our fortress. I hope you found the tour mildly enjoyable. She turns around. And you do have an excellent guide, however misguided he may be. Konzatar. Is this what the king of the Contera have been reduced to? Possessing inferior creatures to accomplish a modicum of false success. Shitara. You dare! How many of my people have you slaughtered, all in the name of your precious empire? Even now I see the remains of my kin strewn all over the walls of this place, this slaughterhouse. Your kind have been a nuisance to the sword for eons, Konzatar. Often have men swept you from their homes and into the streets, to mingle with the Lindair, the Dosmites, and the Kingdom of the Moss. We still function in both practical and aesthetic ways. We will remain, but your time has come to an end. No, not unless I end you. Really, mortals? This is with whom you ally? The last king of a dying breed? We can offer so much. Two smaller spiders emerge holding a chest gleaming with gold. A trove gathered from centuries, once baubles to kings and emperors, now at our disposal. Oh, wow. Luka, look. I'm seeing it, but still not believing it. Bushwackers, please, honor our agreement. Right, I'm sorry. Your Grace, but we cannot accept this. We can't? JJ, our friend is still under this guy's control. Oh, shit, you're right. He looks at the chest. But this could change so much. Think about it. With this kind of loot, we don't need to run this business, putting our lives in danger week after week, fighting all sorts of freaks. We could just live comfortably. That is tempting, but we made a promise, and by God, we're going to keep it. Speak for yourself. JJ? JJ, no! Well, it seems one of you has some sense. Guards, take the interlopers away. I do believe today is the feast day of the Red Widows, and we have plenty to celebrate. It cuts to a giant web with Lee and Luka bound in webbing. Luka struggles, while Lee remains quiet and pensive. Shit! You think that something that can be swatted away with a feather would have some give, but it's not. Ow! It's not budging. He turns to Lee. Hey, man, you alright? I can't believe it. This may be over. All those months and months of planning come to naught. We hoped this would be the moment where we finally turn the tide, but we were betrayed. Yeah, no. That JJ was flaky from the very beginning. Where are we exactly? Oh, these are the torture webs. That's the reason why you cannot break those bonds. They use a special type of web with the tensile strength of iron. Do you think you can loosen them? Well, it is possible, but what's the point? Alright, look. I will admit this war is a bit silly. But you asked us to help you out, and I at least will honor that. Even if JJ won't. Now, is there any specific place that we can attack that's important and vulnerable? By the gods, you're right. There's a hatchery 2 levels down. If we can destroy it, that will severely hamper their efforts. But, there's always a but. By destroying the hatchery, we'd be no better than them. We'd commit genocide on a scale that would reverberate throughout the world. Well, maybe not to that scale. Hey, how about this? You loosen these bonds, and I'll go and do the thing that you won't do. Lee throws back his head, and we see strands of gray emerge from every orifice in his head. It slides over into the webs, and soon Luka is standing there, rubbing his wrists. The strands loosen Lee's webs, and then slide back into his head. God almighty. I wonder if that hurts coming out as it is going in. Lee sits up. But wait. If we destroy the hatchery, would it not be proportionate to the slaughter against my people? And if we enact the deed, we would be on equal footing. Then other races and species would say there's nothing to differentiate between us. Enemies soon become alike. No, there must be another way. We must truly have some commonality. What will result in this bloodshed? Attrition? Will Contera and arachnids wipe each other off the face of the earth? And yet, through this evil act, we may end future evils. Hello? He turns to see he is all by himself. Luka, meanwhile, has climbed into the hatchery. He sees little red sacks all over the place. As he steps gingerly, he hears a noise and ducks behind a console, but sees a red dot. He looks at it, and there's a squeal, and he screams and jumps back, his foot going through one of the sacks. He pulls his foot out to see it covered in red liquid in a misshapen heap stuck to his shoe. Ah, for the love of... He hears a noise and pulls out a gun and slowly walks in the direction of the noise. He is prepared to fire when he stops. JJ? Hey. What? What are you doing? Oh. I see. You and the Empress are in cahoots and you're here to stop me, eh? Well, guess who's got the gun? I'm not here to stop you, I'm here to help. Luka lowers the gun. Seriously? Then what was it with that whole betrayal bit back there? Oh, I was acting. Get it? I had to earn the Empress's trust and she opened up. She said she knew the dust bunnies would make a run for the hatchery as it's where the next generation are. Suddenly there is an explosive sound and scuttling noise. I'm assuming that's backup? No, your guess is as good as mine. You still got the goods? Luka reaches into his trousers and pulls out a belt of explosives. I'll let you handle it. They set about planting explosives, and as they're about to set them off, they hurry to the exit to see spiders scurrying in with more repelling from the ceiling. Luka proceeds to fire his gun, killing a few, but they begin to overpower them. Suddenly strands appear from the ground, wrap themselves around the spiders and crush them. One of the spiders is possessed. Bushwackers. Uri. There isn't much time and Gonzadar needs help. Are you kidding me? You could have possessed these 8-legged bastards all along. Unbelievable. Uri. The dust bunnies continue to wrap themselves around the remaining troops, squeezing them as their hapless victims shriek in pain. The spiders are crushed and torn apart. The two scurry out of the hatchery as it explodes and hurry to the throne room where the Empress is waiting for them. Fools! Traitors! Nincompoops! Sorry? You will pay for your transgressions. Yes, by Arachne, you will pay for what you have done. As she approaches them, Lee emerges from the flames. Go. This is between us. Wait, what about our friend? Lee opens his mouth, and we see a wave of gray strands shoot out and wrap themselves around the Empress. Squeezing so hard, we hear the carapace crack and fluid oozing out. Lee then turns to his companions. Bushwackers, I thank you. We will never forget this. The last strand shoots out and impales itself into the Empress's head. She screams and topples backwards into the inferno below. Lee collapses to the ground. JJ and Luka grab him by the arms and scurry out as the hive collapses all around them. Back at Lee's apartment, he is lying in bed when he sits up and looks around to find his room in a mess. He sees the sun shining through the blinds and peers at his clock to see it is late in the afternoon. He rubs his head and walks out to the living room to see Luka and JJ watching TV. So, what's this show? Cousins. Basically, it's a reality show that follows these women who are marrying their cousins. That's a thing? You'd be surprised what kind of messed up crap they'll put on TV these days. Suchek! Buddy! How you feeling? Lee pulls out a strand out of his ear.
Guys, what the hell happened?
What do you mean?
I mean, I woke up with this splitting headache, and there are dust bunnies in my ear. Oh, and I was doing some spring cleaning on Saturday, and it's Monday afternoon. Was I out for 3 days?
Luka and JJ exchange looks.
Guys!
Well, it's like this, Suchek. What happened was you were possessed by dust bunnies. Well, king of the dust bunnies. Yes, thank you. The king of the dust bunnies. See, he needed our help to defeat the spiders who were carrying out a genocidal agenda. Ironically, we had to destroy their hatchery, thereby committing genocide. Right, and the king was killed fighting the Arachnid Empress. It all happened, I swear it. I can back it up. Lee looks at the two incredulously.
Are you too high or something?
What? No, all this really did happen.
Don't talk shit. Do you know what I think happened? I think you two were experimenting with something. Because that's what you film students do. Slipped a Mickey into my drink, had a big party, and are now covering it up with a stupid story about dust bunnies going to war with spiders? Seriously? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
But it's true.
Guys, please get help. Please. Being possessed by the king of the dust bunnies? What will they think of next?
As he walks back into his room, another thought occurs to him.
And you seriously need to help with all these dust bunnies. God, where are they all coming from?
Luka and JJ exchange looks as one of them rolls over to them. They nod approvingly, and the dust bunny rolls away. The menacing man. What can we say about that? Is it disturbing? Of course it is. If there was one episode that showed the Bushwackers in a negative light, it's this one. Because if you think about it, this is the episode where we commit a litany of crimes, some of which could land us in prison probably for a good chunk of our lives. Not to mention the fact that that we technically killed two of our quote unquote foes. It's I mean, it's so childish. It's petulant in its approach, and yeah, I mean, I will admit it is a pretty dark episode, but I think, and it's one of the darkest episodes that that's out in season 1. But at the same time, it's just so ludicrous. We think that these guys, you just ask yourself, really, this is the approach that you guys have to take? But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's been forced on them. They really didn't have much of a choice in executing this, and the way they did it, you kind of think, they could have handled this much better, but at the same time, I could sort of understand. Because I mean, the menacing men are a bunch of dicks. They're just going around, like, harassing them and trying to mess with them and screw with them. I mean, how else would you react? How would you react if you were in that similar situation? So, against my better judgment, this is one of my top 5, The Menacing Man. The story begins with the Bushwackers standing in a backyard with lumber, tools, and discarded coffee cups all over the place. We see them working on what appears to be a gazebo and are putting the finishing touches to the railings.
It's coming along nicely, don't you think?
I'll say. Especially given the 3 mocha lattes we've had.
You had 2 of them.
Well, I offered you one.
You know I don't drink coffee. Anyway, we should be just about done here, and then we'll get started on the roof.
Lee turns to the others.
Guys, I think now we found our happy medium.
Well, how do you figure?
I mean, after that debacle with dumping waste into that pond...
Apparently toxic waste.
Yes, thanks. Toxic waste. And having to deal with that Freddy Krueger-like monster, I think contractors suits us best.
Yeah, but we tried that on day 1, and we ended up killing a giant worm.
True, but now we're carpenters.
Ah.
Yeah, no BS here, just plain, simple, honest work.
As he says this, a car bursts through the hedges and runs over the half-built gazebo. You see 3 figures alight. A man wearing a domino mask made of protractors, another wearing a brown paper bag with 2 holes, and a third wearing a silly clown mask. They hoot and holler at the Bushwackers. Before they can react, the 3 interlopers hop back into the car and speed off, leaving a trail of mud and dirt all over the place.
What the actual hell?
Who were those guys?
Who cares? Look, that took nearly 8 hours to complete. What the actual fuck?
Hey! What the hell is going on here? They turn to see a large man standing there amid the wreckage.
Hey, Mr. Starkey. I'm, guys?
Mr. Starkey walks over the destroyed gazebo, fuming. So this is what y'all been doing for 7 hours? Drinking coffee, lollygagging, and driving your cars all over the neighborhood like a bunch of hoodlums. He turns and walks away. Lee stops him.
Wait, Mr. Starkey. You don't understand. It wasn't us. We had the thing halfway built when this car barreled in and crashed into it. They're the ones who did this, not us.
Yeah, seriously, how thick do you have to be to think we'd trash our own handiwork?
Not helping.
Really? And who was driving this car?
3 guys? One was wearing a shopping bag on his head.
Brown paper bag, not the plastic one.
Right, that. And another one wore a clown mask.
But not like a juggalo, you know?
I have no idea what that is.
Seriously? Juggalos? They follow Insane Clown Posse?
Right, and the third guy wore a mask made out of protractors.
He wore a protractor mask.
Yes.
Huh. So, three guys, a protractor mask wearing fella, a baghead, and some clown who was a gigolo, drove a car and ran over the gazebo and then just drove off?
Yes.
Woo! You millennials and your wacky stories. Yeah, I watched a news report about the weird things y'all huff when you're alone. I bet you imagine those weird people driving magical cars and crashing into things, but in reality you just got wasted on whatever it is you can get your hands on and just trash the place yourselves. So we're not getting paid then? At this rate you're lucky I'm not going to call the cops on you. Now get off my property. As they gather their things, JJ looks over at the hedge. Who the hell were those guys? A few days later, we see the Bushwackers are resurfacing a driveway. As they finish their work, we see the same three individuals run over and jump onto the wet concrete, splashing it all over the place. JJ tries to stop them but slips and lands on the sidewalk. The three laugh and scurry off before the Bushwhackers can react. Lee angrily throws his hammer to the ground.
God damn it! Who the hell are those weirdos?
Back at Lee's apartment, Lee emerges from the bathroom, wiping the last of the concrete from his head. JJ is on his phone while Luka pours himself a drink. Hey, guys?
What's up?
You may want to take a look at this. They see JJ's phone and it's on Facebook.
The menacing men?
Yeah, apparently there are sworn enemies. Oh, cool. Our first supervillain team. Hardly likely. I mean, I've never even heard of these guys.
So their job is to mainly screw with us. This is bull. They're disrupting our cash flow. If they keep this up soon, no one will want to hire us.
Well, maybe it's all in good jest.
Really? Do you forget what happened at Mr. Starkey's the other day? Or the driveway job at the O'Connells? That isn't good jest, dude. They're deliberately trying to make our lives a living hell.
So, what do you suggest we do?
I don't know. But if these menacing men should show up, we need to take drastic action.
Luka pulls out a crossbow. I'll be ready.
No, dude. Not that drastic.
2 more days later, back at Lee's apartment, he's pacing back and forth, looking at his phone.
Come on, come on, come on.
We see JJ and Luka on their phones. Dude, will you stop with that back and forth? You'll wear out the carpet.
Not entirely concerned with the carpet.
He hears a ping. Lee looks at his phone.
Shit, that's the 4th person to cancel this week.
Who was it?
Miss Atkinson. Apparently she has to go out of town. Suddenly.
I thought our appointment was at 4.
And she had to leave suddenly. Shit. At this rate, we're never gonna recoup.
And that's only 2 days.
And 2 days. Too long.
Hey, guys, you check out the Facebook page for the Menacing Man?
Oh god. Are you still following those a-holes?
Vigilance is important. Anyway, they started a smear campaign against us. They all look at their phones.
What?
I know. Too low.
We're not some Brazilian pervert society. Luka, I knew that name was too stupid and would invite too much ridicule.
Lee, I didn't know you were a MAGA fan.
What?
Oh man, they are trashing you down in the comments section. Lee Suchek is a primitive, backward-looking conservative who dines with Nazis and Klansmen. God, they really hate you.
Is that so? Luka Suwon is a poop-obsessed skinhead who pretends to be Asian to score brownie points when we all know he's a white guy deep down.
Meh. Wouldn't be the first time I've heard that.
And JJ here's a cross-dresser.
I mean, they could have used worse.
Seriously? You guys are taking this incredibly well, all things considered.
Huh. Hey, get this. They're calling us out. Like a mano-mano throwdown? Doesn't say. But apparently they want a showdown with us tomorrow. Does it say where? In Uptown. Wow, they actually cordoned off an entire city block for this. They must have a lot of pull. Lee?
They want a throwdown? We'll give them one.
The next day, we see a large crowd gathered. People are wearing Menacing Men memorabilia and chanting. The three, Protractor Man, Baghead, and Clownface, eat up the adulations. When the Bushwackers enter, they begin to boo them, and some chuck debris at them. Oh, hey, suit check, that's what we should have done! Bushwackers merchandise.
Ugh.
They walk forward and meet the Menacing Men. Well, well, well. Look what we have here, fellas. The biggest Brazilian pervert club in all of Charlotte. Ooh, ooh.
Seriously, dude, what the F is your problem here? Going around and messing up like that?
Oh, what's that? Where? Mommy to me has knocked down my sandcastle. Where?
Everyone cheers and applauds as Lee looks annoyed. Are you guys like wee, trying to me screw with me, screw with screw this.
Hey, get back here! What is the deal with you three screwing with us anyway?
Protractor Man prances around and throws a protractor. It cuts Lee's arm, and he grabs it.
Ugh, God, that hurts. What's that made from? Steel?
Must be. He points to a bystander with one jammed in his forehead. He is still waving, even as the blood pours down his face. I mean, they could decapitate the entire crowd and we'd still be the bad guys.
Jeez, that cut's really deep, man. I think I need stitches.
Baghead walks over and begins popping them with the gun. One of them hits Luka in the eye. Oh, that does it. He walks over and punches Baghead, sending him into a truck. He knocks over one of the barrels of toxic waste and it falls on him, and it begins to burn his skin. He shrieks and rolls around.
Ah! Oh my god! What the hell? I'm burning! The bag is literally fusing to my face!
The crowd stops cheering. Protractor Man turns to the three. Lee and JJ exchange nervous looks and bolt, followed by Luka as the crowd gathers around Baghead. The trio run into an alley where there's a high wall. As they're about to scale the wall, the protractor flies and lands onto a nearby wall. They turn to see Protractor Man standing there, glaring at them. He is wearing a belt and bandolier of protractors.
So, I see you've brought plenty, huh?
I guess it answers the question of who brings a protractor to a fight. They all look at JJ. What? That's a thing? Seriously, what the hell is the matter with you? What? Protractor Man points to the scene out in the street where Baghead continues to shriek in pain. That? Are you sick or something? Why would you go and punch someone into a vat of chemicals like that? Why would you stand in front of a vat of chemicals in the first place? Oh, good point. Seriously, you three are just messed up, like, wow. What the hell?
Whoa. If anything, you dickheads started this entire mess in the first place. All we were doing was trying to earn money, and you kept effing up every job we do. If anything, what is your problem? Why are you just trolling us like that?
Yeah, are you sick or something? Protractor Man tries to retort, but clearly cannot come up with anything. He just waves two protractors around and then aims his arm at the sky and fires a grappling cable. As he zips up, he hurls the protractors that each hit Luka and JJ, cutting them. JJ, finally having enough, grabs one of the protractors and hurls it, and it cuts the zip line. Protractor Man, horrified, tumbles to the ground where he lands on his neck. The trio are horrified at what just happened.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
They turn to see Clownface cowering behind a dumpster. They run over as Luka bends down and inspects the body. He's dead.
Really? That loud crack and the distended neck wasn't obvious?
More importantly, what do we do about him? They see Clownface curled into a ball, sobbing. He's seen too much.
Agreed.
Oh god! Oh Jesus! No church! Please, please!
He continues to sob as the three look at each other.
Okay. Shit. This isn't good. One guy's literally a baghead, and the other one's pushing daisies, and the third one's a complete psychotic wreck. I got it. We need to dispose of the body.
Oh, I can handle that.
Hell no. You're not doing that weird Weekend at Bernie's fantasy you keep going on about.
I told you that in confidence.
Yeah, and it's really, really sick. So, no. You're not going over near that body. JJ, can you handle it?
Sure. Well, how do you know he's not going to do a Weekend at Bernie's thing?
He just doesn't seem the type. Alright, that just leaves our crybaby here. I mean, I kind of feel for the little fellow.
Yeah, but he saw us kill Protractor Boy here. Excuse me, you killed him? Don't go dragging us into this mess.
Luka, we're in this mess. You punched Baghead over there into a chemical vat, and now he literally's got no face.
Yeah, well, whose fault was that?
It's yours, jackass. You're the one who punched him.
Well, I didn't tell him to stand in front of the chemical vats. That's on him. I could have easily punched him into a light post or down a manhole. They heard noises and footsteps.
Shit. Alright, Luka, grab the crybaby and let's scoot.
It cuts to Lee's apartment where we see Clownface tied to a chair. Lee is rubbing his forehead while Luka tosses another roll of duct tape to the side. JJ emerges from the bathroom, wiping his hands.
Alright, fellas. Now comes the hard part. What do we do about him?
Clownface looks up.
Please don't. I only did this because the others two made me. I didn't want to, but they made me. Honest. I never wanted to mess with you. Honestly. Oh God.
He begins hyperventilating and coughing as he tries to hold back the tears. Maybe we should let him go. I mean, what can he do?
Go to the cops and tell them we maimed and killed two of his friends?
Ah, shit, you're right. Well, I have a solution to our problem.
Dude, we're not going to kill him.
Cloudface begins to scream at the thought. JJ tries to calm him down. No, that wasn't what I was going to propose.
Then what?
Luka produces a hammer. We just give him a teeny weeny concussion. Just enough to make him forget what happened over the past 2 hours. And we're good.
A teeny weeny concussion like that could also make him forget his name, his address, and how to tie his shoelaces.
Meh, you take the rough with the smooth. JJ, stand back. I'm gonna give him a wallop. Lee wrestles the hammer from Luka.
No, we're not going to bash his brains in and turn him into a vegetable. Damn, JJ, how's it going with the B-O-D-Y?
It's going good. Suchek, there's this really awful smell here. I mean, I wasn't gonna say anything, but it's like cabbage mixed with offal. Are you preparing one of your Polish dishes here?
No? Oh, no.
Lee lifts his shoes to see Clownface has peed his pants, and the carpet is now soaking up the urine.
God almighty. It's official. We're now babysitters.
Hooray!
JJ, go turn on the tub. We need to change him.
Change him into what? He doesn't have any spare pants, and I doubt any of yours will fit him.
We'll just use a towel while we wash and dry his pants.
What, like a nappy?
What?
He means diaper.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like a diaper.
They drag Clownface to the bathroom, where we see Protractor Man's corpse soaking in the tub. Lee sighs.
You left him in the tub? What is this? You're gonna boil him like a lobster? What's the idea here, JJ?
Look, I would need a bone saw to cut him up, which you don't have. I figured if we soak him in the tub for a few hours, he'll be soft and we can all use kitchen knives to carve him up.
Right. Because when you dismember a body, that's exactly what you do.
If you just let me handle this, we'd be done by now.
Shut up. Alright. Who wants to take off his urine-soaked pants? Bags, not it!
Not it. What? Man, screw you guys.
Alright. Let's make this even. JJ, you remove the urine-soaked pants. Luka, you put him in his nappy. And I'll wash and dry the pants. Cool?
Yeah, sure. The others two grumble in agreement. It cuts to Clownface whimpering as JJ tries to remove his pants, but he thrashes his legs, spraying urine all over the trio. Luka makes a face and holds up the hammer. Oi! If you don't stop that thrashing about, I'm gonna have to make you desist. Clownface stops, and JJ holds the pants at arm's length and hands it to Lee, who takes it to the washing machine. Luka puts on the impromptu diaper. Huh. You know, I'm pretty good at changing diapers. Think I'll make a great dad?
God, there's enough horror today, I don't need another scary thought crossing my mind. More of you roaming the earth with your off-the-wall theories.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check on the body, see how it's going. Remember, 350 degrees for 45 minutes, JJ, or else it'll burn. JJ gives him the middle finger as he walks into the bathroom and shuts the door. Lee buries his face in his hands.
God, this day won't just end, will it? Alright, what do we do about Diaper Boy here?
Well, we could try to wipe his memory.
No. We're not going to even revisit that fantasy of yours.
Now hold on. What about getting him wasted? Hey, you saw that vodka I gave you for your 29th birthday? You know, the one with the SpongeBob shot glasses.
Hey, yeah, that's actually not that bad of an idea. We give him a few shots, he gets blackout stinking drunk, send him on his way, and he's the city's problem.
Great! They turn to look at Clownface, who appears to be asleep. Huh. He must have cried himself to sleep.
Well, we could just pour a few shots into his mouth. Luka, tilt his head back so the vodka goes in. I don't want to just slosh around and have it dribble right back out.
Luka lifts the mask a bit, exposing the mouth. Lee pours a shot and dumps it into his mouth. Huh. I think you're gonna need more than that. I mean, that's barely enough to get a frat boy drunk.
Alright, smart guy. Lift the mask further away so I can get a clear shot.
Luka lifts the mask further back and holds the head back as Lee pours vodka from the bottle into his mouth. JJ walks in and stops. Did I miss something here? We're gonna get him hammered so he can't remember anything, and then we'll send him on his way. You sure that's even gonna work? JJ, have you ever remembered anything when you got stinking drunk? Touché. As Lee pours the vodka, Clownface sputters and wakes up. He begins crying and heaving. Well, don't stop. Keep going.
I don't know, dude. He just woke up. Anyway, the bottle is halfway empty.
I thought we were only going to do a few shots.
I'm sorry, okay? It got away from me.
Guys? Guys, I have a really bad headache. It tastes like I chugged gasoline. Mom's not gonna be happy about this.
Gigi cuts the duct tape, and Clownface stumbles around. They direct him out the door, and he manages to make it out of the complex's gate as the three look on.
All in all, I think we accomplished our goals.
What, getting a kid in a clown mask drunk and making him wear a towel like a diaper?
Speaking of which, there it goes.
Look, I worked with what I had, okay? How could you not have safety pins, dude? Before Lee can respond, there's a loud horn and a crash, and then a return.
Oh, shit.
Well, hang on. It could have come from anyone's apartment. Got drunk. Someone pranked him by putting a diaper on him, and he... Well, I mean, no one has to know it was us three who did all this. This isn't good, guys. On the bright side...
Which is?
We defeated our first supervillain team?
I wouldn't really mark that as a triumph, dude. If anything, I think it just exposed our deepest, darkest sides. Like, the kind you see from those isolation experiments, where after a few days, they cannibalize one another.
Really? You're comparing our 3-hour adventure to the Russian sleep experiment.
Frankly, I'd really like not to be around you two for a very, very long time.
Ditto. As he says this, they turn around to see a crowd behind them holding their phones out, aimed at the trio.
How's about this? We'll all lay low for the next 3 weeks or so. Just until this all dies down.
All together then?
I'm afraid so.
And that's gonna do it for the top 5 episodes of season 1. Again, let me know what your favorite episodes of season 1 were down in the comments below. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.